Hello, my name is Scher, and welcome to my transitions tutorial. Transitions might also be called stepping. In this tutorial, we're going to talk about transitions, stepping, shifting between the three circles, gaining a dominant position, masking those transitions, those steps. And we're also going to cover some drills that will help you practice the techniques that we're going to cover in this tutorial. Now, before I get into the various transitions, please keep in mind that when you're stepping or doing any of these techniques, you're not just doing the techniques. You are doing them in a context. So you're not just going to stand there and step, diagonal step, shift, slide. You're going to do these things under the cover of another technique. When your opponent punches and they're focusing on that punch, you're going to do your step. If you just start doing it, your opponent is going to obviously see it coming and they're going to react to it and not let you do the kind of step that you want to do. So if you want to do a diagonal step, for example, which we'll cover in a moment, you're going to want to do it off of your opponent's attack. Or you're going to do mask it by throwing an attack and then doing the step at the same time as you throw your attack so that your opponent doesn't see it coming. The most important concept for you to understand before we go into this tutorial is the three circles. In circle one, your partner can punch, grab, elbow, and use their hands and maybe knees, but they won't be able to kick you very well with either leg. When you move back into circle two, your partner can throw a lead leg strike, but his hands and his rear leg will be completely out of play. When you move into circle three, his rear leg will be an effective tool, but his hands and lead leg will not be an effective tool. Once you understand these distances, then we can use them with our transitions. We can transition between the three circles. It's important to determine correctly which circle you're in. Now, I didn't go into this very much in previous tutorials. Which circle you're in is determined as much by your body position as your weight distribution. If your front foot is in circle one and your back foot is in circle two, and your weight's on your back foot, then you're in circle two. As soon as you shift your weight to your front foot, you're in circle one. If your weight's on your back foot and you're in circle two, your back foot's in circle two, even though your front foot's in circle one, you can still pick your front leg up and kick because you'll be that distance from your opponent. If you shift your weight forward onto your front foot, you'll be in circle one. You'll be close enough to punch. So remember, weight distribution as well as body and foot position matter in determining your three circles. The first transition we're going to talk about today is sliding. It's where you put your weight more on the ball of your feet. You don't jump, but you propel your whole body forward, skimming the top of the floor without moving your legs further apart or closer together. You can move either towards your opponent or further away from your opponent. The great thing about sliding is you don't telegraph your movement. You can also do a sliding kick. The important thing when you're doing a sliding kick is you pick your kicking leg up before you slide forward. The second transition we're going to talk about is non-linear sliding. So it's the same as forward and backward sliding or linear sliding, except you're sliding side to side instead of forward and backward. This is a great way to avoid an attack without increasing the distance between you and your opponent. And if you perform a non-linear slide, you could end up in a dominant position, which is one of the goals of stepping, to avoid an attack and be in a position where you can counterattack more efficiently with more advantage. If, for example, you slide to the side to avoid a side kick, you could shift forward and throw a reverse punch and be closer to your opponent to attack. Or if you slide to the other side, you could be behind your opponent and perhaps throw a lead leg hook kick before they manage to put their leg down while you avoid the attack. The third transition we're going to cover is called a fading transition. This means you're jumping backwards. Unlike a slide or a backwards jump, a fading technique is a kick while you're moving backwards. So if your opponent is attacking you, they're in circle one, they're throwing a flurry of punches, and you want to open the gap, you could jump backwards and throw a lead leg kick. You could jump further backwards and throw a spinning or turning kick. The advantage of a fading kick is it opens up the gap even though your partner's attacking or moving forward, and you can throw a kick while you're jumping backwards to stop your opponent from reclosing the gap. If you go in to throw an attack, you could plan to throw a fading kick after the attack. It can be your exit strategy. Suppose you throw a lead leg side kick, you shift in, you throw some punches, then you want to get out. Now you don't know if your opponent's going to counterattack, if your strike is going to land, but you know after these 3 or 4 techniques that you want to get out. So after the attack, you could plan to throw a fading kick to get out. The great thing about a fading kick is your retreat is covered by the kick. The fourth transition we're going to cover is called shuffle stepping. You move your front leg forward and then your back foot catches up. You move your back foot backwards, then your front foot catches up. You can also do it side to side. The advantage of this is you're never changing facing. You're moving forwards, backwards, and side to side without ever moving your feet closer together. On the initial step is a great time to attack. You shift your front foot forward and you can throw that lead hand punch. You shift your back foot forward and you can throw the backhand punch. So you're stepping and striking at the same time. You can use kicks to cover your shuffle step. Suppose you want to move your front leg forward to kick. You can throw a lead leg front kick, put your foot down closer, throw a lead hand punch, and then catch your back foot up and throw a reverse punch. So you've covered your initial step with a kick, closed the gap, and then brought the back foot forward. The fifth transition we're going to cover is called the round out. This is one of my absolute favorite transitions. Your front foot stays exactly where it is, with your weight on it, but your back foot swings out behind you about 45 degrees, which moves your body out of the line of any attack. And it also places you at a diagonal to your opponent's line of attack, out of their power zone, so that you can shift forwards an attack, or throw a lead leg attack, or even a spinning attack if your opponent's back far enough, and attack from a dominant position. The sixth transition we're going to talk about is called shifting. In shifting, your back foot is going to be your anchor. Suppose you're in circle 2 and you want to move into circle 1 and punch, but then you want to be able to move back to circle 2 when your opponent counterattacks. So you're going to leave your back foot in circle 2, slide your front foot forward, and maybe throw a lead hand punch, reverse punch. Then you're going to slide your front foot back. This is kind of like shuffle stepping, except your back foot never catches up. Your back foot never moves forward. It remains your anchor. So you're moving forward and attacking, moving back. Now you could shift forward and then round out. You could round out, shift your front foot forward, attack, then shift backwards as you retreat. The next transition we're going to talk about is jumping. Unlike sliding, your feet are leaving the ground. When you're sliding, your feet are sliding across the ground. They stay in contact. It's a subtle move. A jump is a bold move. If you want to close the gap and attack, bust through any defenses your opponent has, you're going to jump in. You can attack while you're jumping. You can jump in and punch. Jump in and side kick. Now, usually you do this at a time where your opponent isn't ready to attack you. For example, if they throw a side kick, as they're putting their leg down, jump in and attack. You want to close the gap fast and attack powerfully. You can also jump to the side. Suppose your opponent's throwing a kick, you can jump to the side, and when you jump to the side, you can throw a kick in midair. So you jump to the side, throw a round kick from a dominant position. The next transition we're going to talk about is a skipping or a step behind motion. A skipping is more of a step together, and a step behind is where you put one leg behind the other. A step behind or a skipping motion will let you close the gap while maintaining a side facing to your opponent. It's very easy to attack from a step behind position. You could step behind, strike, step out, strike. You could step behind, kick, land, sideways, and strike. The advantage of step behind is you move closer to your opponent. It's telegraphed, but you're not changing facings, and you're keeping your guard in the same position, so you're not leaving yourself vulnerable like you would in a step forward, where you'd be full facing for a moment. The next transition we're going to talk about is a great way to avoid a strike without losing ground. It's called the step away, step in. You're in a fighting stance, one shoulder apart, your back foot's, let's say, in circle 2, your front foot's in circle 1, your weight's on your back leg, someone throws a side kick at you. You step your front foot to your back foot, but don't stand there full facing. Swivel your hips around the kick and then step in with the other leg. And you can counterattack as you follow the kick in on its reach chamber. Once you're familiar with all the different kinds of stepping and transitioning, you need to be able to practice them. You can't just get in the fighting ring and use the transitions. They won't come naturally. You're going to be too worried about getting hit, hitting your opponent. You need to get familiar with the techniques. You need to have them embodied before you can start putting them into practice. So there's a lot of different drills that you can do to help practice the different transitions. And they do need to be practiced. The most basic way to do this is you can travel up and down the room with each of the different transitions. You can walk up and down the room. You could step up and down the room, changing facings each time. Left leg in front, step right leg in front, step right left leg in front, step right leg in front. Make sure you switch hands and get all the way sideways each time. You could do a sliding forward. Make a fighting stance, make sure your legs don't get any closer together. Do the same thing backwards. Slide backwards and land. Slide backwards and land. Don't let your feet get closer together. Don't jump off the ground. That's a jump. A fighting stance facing in the opposite direction to the side. Now, slide sideways down the room and then backwards up the room. So your belly button is facing the direction you're going. Non-linear sliding. Now you can try fading. So this is just like sliding backward, except while you're doing it, you can throw a kick. Slide backward down the room and throw a round kick or a front kick or a side kick. Face the other way, slide backward, and as you slide, throw a kick. Make sure you pick up your front leg, slide backward, and strike as you move backward. So face up the room, pick up one leg, slide backward, kick, and land. Generally transitioning from circle 1 to circle 2, this is an effective transition. Shuffle step. Front leg move forward, back leg move forward. Front leg move forward, back leg move forward. I've done a lot of drills with the shuffle step that you can utilize in my punching tutorial. Please watch it and use those drills. But punch up and down the room using the shuffle step. You can add kicks. You can use a rope to do this drill. Round out isn't as easy to do up and down the room unless you combine it with another step. But basically, make a fighting stance, swing your back foot out 45 degrees, go back. 45 degrees, go back. Try that on both legs. Now with the jumping, same thing. Do it up and down the room. Make a fighting stance. Don't bring your legs close together. It's not the step together jump. Jump up, pick your knees up in the air, and land forward. Then try the same thing moving backwards. Step behind, also simple. Step together or step behind. I suggest pivoting as you do this and performing a round kick or a side kick or a hook kick. Practice step behind up and down the room. Practice step behind kicks up and down the room. We talked about the V in other tutorials that represents your power zone and your opponent's power zone. I've talked about it in my best times to attack tutorial, in my blocking tutorial, in my telegraph reading tutorial. I highly recommend you go back and watch those so that you get a good idea of what a power zone is. It's this V that emanates from your lead toe. Your opponent has one too. Stepping is used to keep your opponent in your power zone while getting out of theirs, so you can attack from a dominant position. The V drill is a great way to keep in mind that power zone and to maneuver around it in context. Make a V. Take 2 collie sticks and make the V in front of you like this. Or you can use your belt, or a jump rope, or anything you have. You can even make it with tape. Make that V. Make sure it's at about 45 degrees or a little bit more. That's the power zone. Make a junbi at the base of the V, at the point. Take your right leg, step to the diagonal. The most important thing when stepping along a V is not to let your belly button face the inside of that V. As we go through this drill, I'm going to repeat this. Never let your center face the middle of the V. That's putting yourself full face into your opponent and moving your power zone away from your opponent. What I tell my students is pretend there's a laser beam coming out of your belly button. Your opponent's in the middle of the V. Pretend your mother is in the middle of the V, or someone you love. And if that laser beam touches your mother or the center of that V for more than 1 second, whatever you love most in the world will explode. So make sure when you do that first step, your belly button is facing the direction you're stepping. Your hips are facing the direction you're stepping. Now, bring your back foot forward. So we've done a shift out and turn it into a shuffle step. Now reverse it. Shuffle step back, step back. So now we're practicing the V step, the diagonal step with a shuffle step. Make a fighting stance at the point of your V with your left leg in front. Step your right foot out along the line of the V, keeping your hips facing towards the front leg on the diagonal. Bring your back foot up in a shuffle motion. Round the back leg out behind you just under 90 degrees so that your back isn't facing the center of the V. Now reverse that. Take your back foot, step to the tip, round out. Now perform a step away, step in. And now you have the other leg in front. You can practice the diagonal step, the shuffle step, and the round out on this side. Reverse it and keep going until it's smooth. Now you can practice various strikes in the process. For example, when you do your first step out, you could throw a cross into the V. You could do a rear leg round kick and use that round kick leg to round out. From there, you could throw a lead leg side kick. You could throw a lead leg sliding side kick to get your sliding practice in there. You can put it down the center of your V, perform a jab cross, and then shuffle step backwards, or perform a fading hook kick. Then step back, reverse knife hand strike, round out, step away, step in, and repeat to the other side. There's an infinite number of combinations and techniques and ways you can reorganize this V drill. But it's one of the key drills that I found that really help unite the various forms of transitioning and allow you to practice them in a consistent, flowy manner in concert with your other techniques. Practice the V drill and add various techniques as you go along, and build the drill up until it involves more and more techniques and more of your various transition drills. While you're watching this tutorial, you might wonder, what's the point of all these steps and transitions and movements? Why am I doing them? Why don't I just stand there and punch my opponent and let him punch me, stop him, and then punch him back? Well, if you've watched my blocking tutorial, you know how to stand there and not get hit. But as I talk about in that tutorial, you want more than one wall in your city. In my blocking tutorial, I talk about putting up walls between yourself and your opponent, and blocking is the first wall. You want to keep your guard up at all times, even if you're moving out of the way. You're blocking something, but you don't want to rely 100% on your block. For several reasons. One, if someone's throwing a kick hard enough, they could really hurt your arm, your blocking tool. So you want to block. You always want that block there. You want them to hit that arm before it hits your body. But you also want to move your body out of the way. So if you're jumping backwards or jumping to the side or swinging your back foot backwards to round out, you're avoiding the attack, but the block is still there. So transitioning does not replace blocking. As a means of defense. Transitioning is a means of avoiding an attack and gaining a dominant position so that you can counterattack more effectively with a greater chance of success. Thank you very much for watching my transitions tutorial. Please don't forget to share, comment, like, and subscribe. And please check out the other videos on my YouTube channel.